Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. Let's dig right in. So yesterday, you had some true or false math story problems that you needed to read and then decide if the answer that was provided was correct. If it was true, you would simply write something like true. If it was false, you would record your correct answer. So I went ahead and filled in the true or falses, and if they were false, I recorded what the proper answer was. So go ahead and pause the video so that you can pull out your number talk from yesterday to check your work. Just like we always do in the classroom, remember, if you find that you're getting something wrong, ask for help. I'm happy to help and talk you through it. Review how to use a material to help you solve problems like that in the future, or perhaps you have siblings or a parent who might be able to help you with that material too. And here we have Work It Out Wednesday. So we're going to, in the units column, we're going to practice all of our addition facts using 7. Try and do the ones you know first and come back to the material if you must. In the tens column, we have some more addition practice with some exchanging. And then over in our hundreds column, we have some dynamic subtraction, so subtraction with borrowing. So work it out on Wednesday. Yesterday, we continued our study of the value of determination, and I asked you to think about the characters and the setting from the story. So, who was your main character? It was Helen Keller. And who were some of the support characters you came up with? Did you include her mother and father? Did you include Anne Sullivan? Yeah? Okay. Did you think about her inner voice? They were played, fictitiously, they were played by 3 mice, sight, sound, and speech. Was there anyone else you included in your support characters? Perhaps it was the principal of the school she attended, Miss Fuller. Maybe she was in there as well. And then our setting. Setting, remember, is the place and time when the story is occurring. And in our story, we don't learn the exact locations, as in the city, like South Bend, Indiana, or Los Angeles, California. We also didn't learn the time, like May 13th, 2020, or May 13th, 1950, or May 13th, the year 249. We didn't get that information from the short story, The Value of Determination. So let me give you a little bit of context. Helen Keller was born in Alabama in 1880. So Alabama, we know that's in the United States of America, in the southeast corner of the country, in 1880. I wonder how many years ago that was. If this year is 2020, and she was born in 1880, how many years ago was she born? Well, let's see. Start with our units, take away units. 0 take away 0, we know that's 0. 2 tens, oh, can you take 8 away from 2? No, so we need to borrow. Can we borrow from a 0? Nope, so we need to go up to our 1,000 and continue our borrowing. So now we have 12 minus 8. We know that's 4. Yesterday, Leo gave us a trick. Remember, if you don't know what 12 minus 8 is, you could think of what plus 8 equals 12. That might help. Now we have 9 minus 8. 1 minus 1, 0, or we can get rid of that. So Helen Keller was born 140 years ago. Quite some time. And she was born in Alabama. So if you said that one of the locations of the setting was her home, that would have sufficed. Her home that was in Alabama, where she lived with her parents, and eventually Anne Sullivan, her first teacher who came to her home. And fun fact, Anne Sullivan was an excellent teacher of the blind because she herself was nearly blind when she was young. She could barely see until she was 16 years old, when she had a surgery which restored much of her eyesight. She never saw as crisp or as clear as someone with normal vision, who's lucky enough to have normal vision, like you and I. But because Anne Sullivan grew up not being able to see very well, she learned some of the skills out of necessity that she was able to teach Helen Keller and many others as well. Now, after a while, Helen went to a school. And the name of that school is the, the first school she went to, if we go back to the text, the name of that was, just reviewing, because I don't want to guess. I want to go back to my text to know exactly. She traveled to the Horace Mann School of the Deaf. That's one of the settings of our story. And later she went to university, and she went to the university in Boston, which is in Massachusetts. So those are all locations or settings that this story took place. Now remember, we had 3 other story elements. The first one is the plot, and the plot is the series of events that happen. It is the story itself. And remember, a good plot is going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So think about the story, the value of determination, and think about what was at the beginning. Write a sentence, think what was in the middle, continue that sentence, and in the end, and go ahead and draw a picture of each of those to represent the plot. Now, a lot happens in the plot, so you're not going to be able to squeeze every event into this, but if you can come up with a summary, in general, what happened in the beginning. Helen Keller became ill and lost her ability to see and hear and never learned how to speak. That might be your in the beginning. Then perhaps in the middle you can talk about how that conflict, that problem, came to be solved. I'm not going to tell you what it was because I want you to come up with that. And then think about in the end, what did we learn from Helen Keller after her hard work and determination? The conflict. Remember, a conflict is a problem. You might have a conflict with a classmate or a brother or a sister, a mother or a father. You might have a conflict with me, I hope not. But conflicts are common, and all stories need a conflict. They need a problem that the main character and the supporting characters are working to solve. So what is the conflict in the value of determination? What is the conflict Helen Keller, or the problem Helen Keller had to work through in this story? And finally, resolution. How is the conflict resolved? How is the problem worked out? And so go ahead and document those items. And if you need to review, remember you can always go back and listen to the story again on Monday. It starts at about the 2-minute mark in Monday's morning greeting, okay? So feel free to always go back. I often have to go back to the text like you just saw me do, because sometimes I don't remember those specific details when I only hear or read it once. So you can always go back and listen again. All right, and to wrap up, yesterday's clue for who am I? I have 4 legs. I am very useful for humans. Once I provided the fastest and surest way of travel. Remember, travel is a fundamental human need. I am still used to pull heavy loads, and people like to ride me, maybe at prairie winds. My prehistoric ancestors were only about a foot tall or the size of a small dog. They were called Eohippus. Who am I? If you guessed a horse, you nailed it. Can you believe that the ancestor to the horse was only a foot tall? Think about that. 1 foot, 12 inches. That's like, this is not going to mean anything to you, but here, this magazine. This magazine's probably 11 and a half or 12 inches long. That's how tall a horse was. It'd be difficult to ride nowadays, except for maybe a baby. Baby could ride it, but that's about it. Thankfully, they evolved and grew over time. All right, today's clue. I am a large and powerful cat. I live in Africa and in Asia. Like Monday's clue, the elephant also lives in Africa and Asia. I, however, have tawny brown skin. The males of our family have a long, beautiful mane. I range over plains, deserts, and hills. I sleep during the day and I hunt at night. I am the symbol of Great Britain, and I have been called the King of the Jungle. What is my name? Tune in tomorrow, and you'll learn what animal that was. We'll review our plot, the conflict, and the resolution, and keep going with our daily works. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.